What is going on, y'all? It is the Caveman back at it again with another video. And now the free agency has wrapped itself up for the most part. And we have a better idea of what the Buffalo Bills could do in the NFL draft in just a couple weeks. I've decided to really ramp up my mock drafting. But instead of doing your everyday mock draft where you choose a team and then you pick for that team throughout the draft, I decided I'm going to spice things up a little bit. So I ran 25 simulated mock drafts across 5 different websites to determine what the Buffalo Bills are going to do with each and every single draft pick, and I got the results right here that I'm going to show you in this video. But before we get into it, you guys know the drill around here. Mott's applesauce, if you're ever hungry, thirsty, whatever it might be, Mott's applesauce will satisfy whatever satisfying you satisfy you with the Caveman guarantee. I promise it will never fail you. Mott's will always be the #1 overall pick in my God blessed heart. Alright, so as I mentioned, what I did for this video is relatively simple. I did 5 simulated mock drafts across 5 different websites, which will be all linked in the description below. I took the results from those 25 simulated mock drafts to determine what the Buffalo Bills are going to do position-wise for each and every one of their picks. For the sake of an example, let's say we're talking about our 3rd round pick, round 3 pick 89. And let's say out of those 25 simulated mock drafts, there were like 10 interior offensive linemen taken. That would mean that out of the 25 mock drafts, the websites think the Buffalo Bills are going to be going with an interior offensive lineman in round 3. I think that makes sense, right? I also want to say I avoided doing any hypothetical trades, which I do think is very possible. In all reality, I do think Brandon Beane could make a move, but in these simulations, I did not have any trades happen. One quick thing before we get to the results, I am going to do my own personal mock draft based off of my own opinions in a separate video once the draft gets closer. But as we speak, I just want to hold off before I do a finalized mock draft because I know the Buffalo Bills are still potentially in the market for a veteran cornerback at the right price. We have ties to Stephon Gilmore and James Bradbury supposedly, so I want to hold off before finalizing any last mock drafts. For now, let's get into the simulated results. This was actually very grueling to do. I didn't realize doing 25 simulated mock drafts would actually take as much time as it did. By no means am I living and dying by these results. I do think they're relatively accurate, but I do disagree with a couple things here and there. I just thought it would be cool to look at these sites and simulate these mock drafts because they're supposed to know what's going to happen after all and see what they have to say about it. We're going to start from bottom to top. Round 7, pick 231, just because less people care about it. I'll have timestamps for every pick down in the description, but I want to build suspense for the first one. So round 7, pick 231, Bills took 5 wide receivers, 4 safeties, 3 running backs, 3 interior defensive linemen, 3 offensive tackles, 2 linebackers, 2 edge defenders, 1 tight end, 1 corner, and 1 interior offensive lineman. The most common choice was a wide receiver here. This choice I definitely agree with just because I do think it's going to be a best player available type of thing, and I do think this class is extremely deep when it comes to wide receivers. We just saw the Bills take Marquez Stevenson with a late round pick last year. Safety is another position that I have to agree with that I think is very possible to be taken with this choice if we have it, of course. With that being said, I do think the simulation has gotten this down pat. It's going to be a wide receiver first, and if not, then a safety. Moving on to round 6, pick 203, we had 6 quarterbacks taken, 4 offensive tackles, 3 safeties, 3 linebackers, 2 interior defensive linemen, 2 wide receivers, 2 tight ends, 1 punter, 1 edge defender, and 1 running back. So the simulation says we're going to take a quarterback here, and I completely agree with this as well. Just a few years ago, we saw the Bills take Jake Fromm with a very late round pick just because it's nice to have a 3rd emergency quarterback, a young kid that you can groom and you can have around just in case. We have Case Keenum to back up Josh Allen this year, but I do think taking a quarterback here as that 3rd option is definitely very possible. Now moving into round 6, pick 185, we had 6 offensive tackles taken, 4 running backs, 3 edge defenders, 2 tight ends, 2 interior offensive linemen, 2 safeties, 2 wide receivers, 2 interior defensive linemen, 1 corner, and 1 linebacker. Simulation says we go with an offensive tackle here, and I don't disagree with this. I'm not exactly sure if I agree with it per se. I think it's going to be a best player available type of thing throughout most of the draft, to be fair. I do think we're going to be looking for offensive line depth in this draft, and it won't be very early on just based on how we've rounded it out up to this point. So I do think taking offensive tackle with this choice makes a lot of sense. Moving into round 5, pick 168, we had 9 interior offensive linemen taken, 4 running backs, 3 edge defenders, 2 linebackers, 2 interior defensive linemen, 2 cornerbacks, 1 quarterback, 1 tight end, and 1 offensive tackle. Interior offensive line is the clear winner here, and like I just mentioned for offensive tackles, we're going to be shooting for some offensive line depth later on in this draft. Whether we do interior offensive line and then offensive tackle back to back, I guess we'll find out. That's what the simulation says. I do think having an interior offensive lineman taking in this spot specifically is extremely realistic, and I completely agree. We're getting into the juicier picks here. Round 4, pick 130, we had 7 running backs taken, 6 interior offensive linemen, 3 cornerbacks, 2 edge defenders, 2 interior defensive linemen, 2 wide receivers, 2 linebackers, and 1 tight end. According to the simulation, 7 running backs were taken, therefore we're going to go with a running back in round 4, and I also agree with this tremendously. I know I'm not supposed to be getting player specific in this video, but I can't help myself right now. Rachaad White in the 4th round out of Arizona State would be beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. In my opinion, he's the best receiving back in this class, and that is exactly exactly what we need on this offense. That solidified third down back. We have Devin Singletary for the early downs. You bring in Rachaad White on third down. It's just such a great spot to get a running back at. We do not need to be drafting an early down back to take away from Devin Singletary after the way he ended 2021. I think he certainly deserved that role. As we all know, the Buffalo Bills are not a 3-down back offense. We just need a solidified third down running back, and I think in this draft, Rachaad White would be a perfect option. But either way, I completely agree with the simulation that running back in the 4th round would be a beautiful selection. Moving on to round 3, pick 89. Now we're really talking, ladies and gentlemen. We had 9 wide receivers taken here, 4 tight ends, 3 cornerbacks, 3 edge defenders, 2 interior defensive linemen, 2 running backs, 1 quarterback, and 1 safety. Wide receiver is the clear winner here, and I'm not trying to deride my own simulation for this video, but I genuinely agree with this as well. I mentioned it earlier, and as we all know, this draft is extremely deep at the wide receiver position, and I think we could find some solidified talent with this draft choice. I mean, for the love of God, Gabe Davis was a 4th round pick. I think Brandon Beane can easily pick somebody out of the 3rd round to be an instant impact for this offense. Considering the depth of this position in this draft class, I really like this opinion of the simulation saying that wide receiver is going to be our 3rd choice in this draft. For our final 2 picks, we have round 2, pick 57. This had 8 running backs taken, 5 interior defensive linemen, 4 wide receivers, 4 edge rushers, 3 cornerbacks, and 1 tight end. Here's the first time I truthfully disagree wholeheartedly with the simulation. I don't want a running back in the 2nd round. I don't want one in the 1st round. I think one in the 4th would suit our needs perfectly. That's what the simulation says, and I've seen a lot of mock drafts out there on Twitter, not that I think they're credible by any means, of people taking a number of running backs in this year's draft. I wonder if Brandon Beane's on the same mindset. I know Breece Hall is a big name that a lot of Bills fans are intrigued with. I'm just not on that bandwagon right now. I'm pretty positive he would be available in the 2nd round at this choice. Whether or not Brandon Beane pulls the trigger on it, I guess we'll see. I would be a lot more comfortable taking him with the 2nd round pick than our 1st round pick, which I know a lot of people are considering as well. But I think in this position, particularly as the simulation mentions, interior defensive line was the 2nd most drafted choice. I think I'd like that a little better than running back. I'm just so anti-running back, but that's what the simulation says, so I guess we'll see. Now for the pick that everybody's been waiting for. Round 1, pick 25. 9 corners were taken in the simulation, 6 interior offensive linemen, 5 wide receivers, 2 linebackers, 2 interior defensive line, and 1 safety. Cornerback was the clear winner, and I could not be happier. Like I said, if we go out and get a veteran in free agency to get our 2nd corner, fine. Then we don't have to go corner at 25. But as we speak, this is what I want us to do. I'm just so happy that cornerback was the simulation's choice. I know a lot of people are infatuated with wide receivers at this pick. Everybody wants Chris Olave. People think Jameson Williams is going to fall to us, which I don't think is going to be the case at all. But until further notice and we address the cornerback situation via free agency before the draft, I want a corner in the 1st round. I think there's plenty of talent at that position to fill that 2nd cornerback role that we have open at the moment. I mean, I like Roger McCreary. I like Kyer Elam. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I'm not particularly certain. I mean, hell, if we traded up to get Sauce Gardner, I'd love that. Maybe Andrew Booth will fall to us. I think there's too much cornerback talent to not be addressing it with one of our higher values here. But yeah, the simulation says corner in the 1st round. No disagreeing with the simulation. I was very happy to see that result. So yeah, these are the results of the 25 simulated mock drafts that I performed. It's telling us that we're going to take a cornerback in the 1st round, running back in the 2nd, wide receiver in the 3rd, running back in the 4th, interior offensive line in the 5th, offensive tackle in the 6th, quarterback also in the 6th, and then wide receiver in the 7th. I was very pleased with these results personally. Let me know if this is interesting. Let me know if this is something you'd like to see on a year-to-year basis, because I really enjoy doing this. Let me know any thoughts you have down in the comment section below. As always, if you enjoyed, please like, subscribe, do all the fun stuff. If you want to hit the bell to be notified when I upload, I'd appreciate that. And go over to Twitter, follow me over there. I'll tweet that as well. I have a TikTok down in my description that I think you should check out, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.